Alright, so this fly that I'm about to share with you, I've been keeping it a secret for quite a while now, and it's time for me to confess a little bit on my best pattern during these fall months. Alright, let's get into it. Welcome back to Happy to Fly. My name is Carson. If you don't know me, I've been fly fishing for the past 10 plus years, including competitive fly fishing. And today I'm going to be showing you one of the top flies that I've been tying for quite a while now, and it is perfect for streams where either you have higher water columns or even when you have low water conditions. This fly works either for stockfish or more natural fish, and this fly, if you don't have this in your fly box, you're going to be missing out on a lot of fish. Besides that, let's get right into how to tie this fly. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, so for the bead and the hook today, we're going to be using a size 14 dry fly hook from Folding Mill. And then we're going to be using a 3.0 millimeter bead. And this is going to be the color of orange. And this has a slotted bead on a straight shank hook. And I just believe that this is actually, I catch a lot more fish this way, just because of that thinner diameter of the hook. But also too, with the slotted bead, it flips upside down, so basically you won't be hooking up at the bottom as much. So we're going to start off with some thread around the bead, or behind the bead. And this is just going to be a couple of wraps. And a lot of people call this different names. I think this is probably close to what you would call a Spanish bullet, and this is a very deadly pattern all around the United States, but also other countries. So we're going to we made a kind of like a thorax body there, and this is the thread I'm using today is just a brown color 70-aught thread, and then we're going to take some Coupe de Leon here. It doesn't really matter how many strands you get. I just don't like to use too many. I'm probably going to pick out like about 5 strands of the Coupe de Leon feather. And put that on top of the fly here. There we go. And that tail's a bit too long. There we go. That's way better. So we're still building that thorax around the bead, behind the bead, to make sure that bead does not slip down the hook, because the hook is fairly thin. I'm going to flip this up. Okay. And there we go. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to hold the tail of the fly, and we're going to wrap our thread all the way down to almost the bend of the hook. And I'm just going to start creating the body, because this is a fairly thin fly, and I want this body to have a little bit of contrast besides the bead itself. Now what we're going to do now is that we're going to actually take a quill here, and this material that I have here, I'll leave it down in the description below. It doesn't really matter the color, but I kind of like the grayish and the whitish color during the fall months, and for some reason in the spring months, maybe because the BWOs are hatching, I tend to use more of olive color to it. And I'm going to use the tip here to secure that with my thread at the bend of the hook. And then again, I'm just going to be wrapping up. And make sure when you're making these type of thin flies that you want to make sure that the top part, or the part right behind the bead, is the thickest part. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to take our quill, and we're going to start just wrapping that all the way up the bead. And this fly is a very fast sinking fly, and right now I'm sorry that I'm covering up the fly with my finger. Just give me a sec. The only thing that I'm doing now is securing that quill. I just had to wrap around that, or it would have went loose. And then we still have a little bit of excess quill here that we need to take care of. There we go. I'm going to snip that off. And we're just going to wrap that. Okay. And then after that, we're actually just going to whip finish it. Okay. And there we go. snip that off. Alright, so now what we do is that we have our fly almost completed here. This is the basic design there. Okay. And then what we're going to do is that you can either use some head cement, any head cement will work. And I'm just going to, that is a little bit too much of super glue. Yeah, that's a lot of super glue. Well, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this leftover mop fly material that I have here. I'm going to take that excess super glue off, and only thing I'm going to do now is just make sure that this head cement is all over the fly. Alright everybody, there's our fly. And again, this fly is super effective in all different types of streams. Alright, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video on making one of the best patterns for this coming fall season for fly fishing. Thank you everybody for watching. Until then, I'll see you everybody next time, and as always, stay fishy.